Thanks for stopping by, guys, and welcome back to Scrap Mechanic. Today is a very special video because today we are going to be looking at the long-awaited project, the Millennium Falcon. Now, if you've been watching my streams, you're probably really well aware of this project. It's been going on for quite some time and has been a very long project in the making, with I think 5 or so part streams. So, quick description of what this is. This is my attempt to make a full-scale, as accurate as I possibly can, replica of the Millennium Falcon. It flies, it functions, it does everything it should within limitations, or within reason, I should say. So right now I have it on my lift, but without any further ado, let's go ahead and take it off, and let's take a look around it. First thing I'm going to do is try and get this thing off the ground, and get it up into the air. And I will say this right off the bat, it is a very complex creation, so I do plan on having it up on the workshop. However, I can't guarantee many people will be able to run this. We do have a working ramp, walk up in, and here we enter the main hallways. First stop we're going to take is into the cockpit. Go ahead and hop in our seat. We have 5 controls. First off is 3, which will turn on the system. 4, we can shut our little landing door. 2, we'll turn up the thrusters. This way we can pick up off the ground. So the other controls we have are 1 is down, 2 is up. 3, like I said before, turns on and off the system. 4 is the ramp. 5 will disengage our little landing gears that we have. This does not have built-in landing gears and only uses these struts, simply to save on the frame rate. So once you get it off the ground, you press 5. And disengage these struts. Once you have taken this thing off the ground, you do not want to land it again. Once you take it off, it gets some pretty decent frames. Personally, I get it close to 50 usually. However, if you try and set this thing back on the ground, you will either go into the single digits frames or crash the game. Do not put this on the ground at all costs. So now we are hovering in the air. This is controlled by a modified V4 flight computer, heavily modified V4 flight computer, and we can fly this around just like any of my other ships. So let's hold 2 to get up a little bit. Let's see if we can get above this tree line. I know it will take us some time, so I'll be right back. Alright, and we're getting close to where I want to be. So while this thing can fly, it is, of course, a lumbering chunk of metal and isn't the best at flying. You aren't going to be pulling off any sick maneuvers, but you can move it around the map as you wish. So let's go ahead and let go of 2, and let's start moving it forward. So some known issues with the craft, one of which is pretty much unavoidable, and it has to do with the game's physics. Sometimes the flight computer that is in the system will just freak out, and that, from what I can tell, has nothing to do with the build itself. It's just an issue with the game. Unfortunately, there's not much I can do about it. Another known issue is if you turn too quickly, the vehicle will start to rock violently. And if you do put too much force into a turn, you can get a catastrophic failure of the flight system. So as you can see, it is rocking violently, but we are safe. And we can move this big lumbering chunk of metal around. Make sure we don't hit this tree. I think we're clear. And we can also go into the first person view. There is a lot of glass in the cockpit and it has a pretty nice view in my opinion. You could reasonably fly this completely in first person. However, it would be quite difficult because you have the entirety of the ship to your left, which means you do really have to make up for that clearance. Zooming back out, let's go ahead and get this ship stopped and into a hover so that we can explore the rest of the ship. And waiting for it to come to rest. And we are stationary. We are free to move about the cabin. So we've already kind of looked at the front cockpit. So here's a bit more of a look around it. And then we can go ahead and move back down the tube. And like I said before, this is close to as accurate as I can get within the limitations of the game. There are some issues like scale is not 100% accurate. There's just some limitations to the detail you can put in, and also the limitations of the material that I have. Multiple different sources I looked at have multiple different floor layouts for the Millennium Falcon, so I did have to take some creative liberties in certain sections. So here we are in the main room. Everyone should recognize this with the big round couch. You've got a bit of a bunk up top for sleeping. A engineer's, I guess you say, terminal of sorts, an engineer's terminal. And in the front of the ship, there is a cargo bay with a cargo door. This does not open, it's purely decorative. And more cargo. Coming back around the ship, back into the main room. Going through this hallway will bring you into a, I guess you say, just smaller hallway. From here, you can get out of the ship through a bit of a ladder. It is a bit of a tight squeeze, but you can get out. You can walk along the top of the ship. Take a look at it. Alright, and before we fall off, let's go ahead and hop back down in. Bit of a tight squeeze going in, there we go. And we come to one of the first functional parts of the ship, I guess. There is a small hatch here you can climb through if you want to get into the main components of the ship, where the flight computer is stored. There's really no use to coming back here other than wanting to see what's inside. Coming back even further, we have the crew quarters. 3 bunks, 2 low, 1 high. They all have lights. You do have the Millennium Falcon's bathroom as well. Toilet and sink, no shower. And a bit of a radio if you want to play some music. So, moving even further to the ship, we have the engine room. Here you have some containers and stuff. It's relatively barren back here. And you have some extra storage as well. Quite a bit of storage on the Millennium Falcon. Given it is a transport ship, I guess that makes sense. And once again, you have another engineering terminal. This one I put a glass window in so you can watch the actual flight computer operate. See some of the blinking lights and some of the suspension glitches working. And we are back through the ship, back to the little entrance ramp. Now we can't go out on this because the ship is stable enough. We're not going to go anywhere. As you can see, we are hovering in the air, even though we are walking around. This is completely suspended in the air using the flight computer and the thrusters on board. So a few other things, I did not show this. Normally you'd have the gunner's compartments here, but because of the position of the flight computer and other reasons, I just could not put them. So instead I did put some decoration where they should be, and I did leave a hole here, so if you do want to climb down and look below the ship, you can, or go into the engine bay as well. There's a bit of a glass section here we can look down. Can't get to it completely, but it is there. And last but not least, one of my favorite features of this entire ship. There is a hidden smuggler's compartment. Yes, this little thing pops up out of the floor. You climb in and press the switch to close it. And you have a bit of a compartment that you can hide in or store some goodies. Just pressing the switch again to get out. There are 3 switches in total. There's this one inside the compartment. There's this one, which is wedged right between these 2 wedge pieces. So you can click if you get your mouse just right. And there's one right in between these 2 wedge pieces that you can click if you get your mouse just right. So with that, I think that is the full tour of the interior, and as much as we can really do with the exterior, because the ship is too big to really see with seats. We can hop into some of these seats I do have around, but your view is very much limited. So I think what we should do is get back in the seat, bring it a little closer to the ground, and we can take a good, nice 360 look at this before we end off the episode. I guess we can go in first person, no reason why not to, other than the fact that I can't really see downwards. That's a bit of an issue. I guess we're going back to third person then. Let's go ahead and start descending. Now, for descending, you do hold 1, but once you start falling, I would suggest you start tapping 1 instead, because if you hold it for too long, you will come crashing to the ground like a brick. And the flight computer cannot save you from that fate. Make sure we're not going to hit anything like that tree. Just try and thrust past it before we smack it. Now I should also mention the ship does have a reverse, however it is at a snail's pace, so be wary when trying to use it, because you're not really going to be going anywhere. Seems we might be slightly tilted. So let's go ahead and get this close to the ground really quickly. Hit the ramp. Tap. And smash the ramp into the ground. There we go. Perfect landing. What is the saying? Any landing you walk away from is a good landing. And we did knock the flight computer off balance. And I'm not sure if that was just from it flying normally, or the fact that we just smacked it off the ground. But let's go ahead and put it on a lift real quick, just to not have it trying to fly places it shouldn't be. And we can go ahead and take one last look around the vehicle. So starting at the back, we do have the engines, which on your screen does give off a nice flickering when you move around. Just the fact of how the game renders the lights. And let's just take a nice little walk. And we can kind of take a look at the bottom. However, it is going to be a bit difficult to look at the top, just because we kind of have this on the lift. I guess we could try and climb into the Falcon to climb on top that way. However, I think I'm going to end it here. I am going to have this up on the workshop if you do want to join, or I should say if you do want to download it and take a look at it yourself. And like I will warn again, this is a very complex creation, and I would not suggest it to everyone. I am going to try and have a world up so people can join and have some fun from time to time. I can't guarantee when that's going to be, but I am going to have to end this episode here. If you guys did enjoy, please leave a like. If you have any suggestions, leave them in the comments down below. Enjoy the channel, enjoy what I'm doing, please subscribe. It helps out a lot. And right now, shares help the channel most. So if you do want to help the channel, please share this episode with a friend. Thanks for stopping by, thanks for sticking around, and until next time, peace.